Pushing the limits in both aerial and gimbal content capture, DJI are always striving to bring high-end production results to the consumer market. Well, today it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to this, the brand new DJI FPV Combo. This drone is designed to redefine your flying and capture immersive content, putting you right in the cockpit with a first-person view thanks to the included goggles. To get the obvious out of the way, I've unfortunately not been able to fly this due to being unable to activate it, but let's give you a rundown of what to expect. The angle of the motors clearly show that DJI has designed the FPV for shooting content whilst in motion. When sat back in the hover, the camera's kind of in a laid back position. So unlike other drones, not really meant for hovering and capturing video or photos. This is all about that tilted forward angle, chasing action dead ahead. Under this cover we find the camera, which houses a 12 megapixel CMOS sensor and a super wide 150 degree lens, or 14.5mm in 35mm format. Previously on FPV drones built for cinematic flying, you would find some form of front-facing camera streaming down to either a monitor or goggles, along with a second camera with a better image quality, normally in the form of a GoPro or Osmo Action. With this drone, all streaming and recording is captured through the same single camera, letting you see exactly what you are shooting whilst flying. The lens is a fixed focus from 0.6 meters to infinity, and thanks to the DJI O3 or OcuSync 3.0, you can transmit an HD feed up to 10 kilometers away at up to 50 megabits per second with a latency lower than 28 milliseconds. Recording spec wise, you can shoot in 4K UHD up to 50 or 60p at 120 megabits per second in both H.264 and H.265. Stepping down to full HD and you can shoot at 50, 60, 100 or 120p, giving you up to 4 times slow motion footage. This content can be captured in both standard colour profile and also D-Cine-like for flexible colour grading and perfect matching to third-party cameras in post-production. Included in the combo you will receive the DJI FPV Goggles version 2, which are this lovely dark kind of futuristic design with 4 detachable antennas. Back in 2019, DJI shook the FPV world up with their first digital FPV system, giving a high definition transmission which far outranked the previously commonly used analog systems, which resulted in low quality images that normally broke up when in flight. Weighing 420 grams, the goggles sit quite comfortably thanks to the padding around your eyes and also this sort of stretchy head strap. Inside we find two 2-inch monitors which give you an immersive 150 degree wide angle view of your flight in high definition up to 120 frames per second, leaving you with nothing but ultra smooth real-time views from above. You can also record what you see through the goggles thanks to the built-in recorder, simply activated by the controls on top. With a takeoff weight of 795 grams, you will need to have your operator and flyer ID, or if you're wanting to fly in more of built up areas, complete the current A2 CFC certification, but in doing so you can capture some truly immersive content. This is stored to a microSD card which is found under the front of the camera and is compatible with cards up to 256 gigabytes. Before taking off we find 3 control options on the drone, giving users the option of a gentle introduction to FPV and cinematic flying, starting with the N mode. We'll unofficially call this Newbie Mode as it's tailored to those who are fresh to the immersive flying and are used to the more traditional drone flight controls. You get a top speed of up to 15 meters per second or 33 miles per hour. And we also find that the obstacle avoidance sensors are active, giving you an extra layer of safety, whilst you get a feel for what could be described as being on board of your drone. Next up is the brand new S mode, no doubt similar to Sports mode, adopted from the previous Mavic and Phantom series. This ups your top speed to 27 meters per second, or approximately 60 miles per hour, and is a real hybrid combination of both manual flying and the simplified controls from the previous DJI drones. And lastly, we find M mode, which is for fully manual. This is a complete limitless control over the drone and the full FPV experience, allowing you to customize your controls and enjoy footage unlike anything else. Hitting top speeds of 39 meters per second, which is roughly 87 miles per hour, and with a top acceleration of 0 to 60 in just 2 seconds. Now, if you're new to the whole FPV format or even an enthusiast, I would highly recommend getting used to the DJI FPV in the lower modes, even if it's just getting some of that muscle memory from using the DJI Virtual Flight app. Otherwise, I think you could be potentially replacing parts rather fast. The DJI FPV can handle max wind speeds of up to 31 miles per hour, although most pilots would probably avoid taking off in those conditions. You can also operate in temperatures from -10 to 40 degrees Celsius. So the age-old question of how long will I be able to fly for? Well, the DJI FPV drone is a 6-cell 2000 mAh smart battery and gives you approximately 20 minutes of flight time. Your controller will last up to 9 hours via the built-in battery, and the goggles will give you approximately 110 minutes viewing time, though you can swap batteries over thanks to it being external. The main appeal for using the likes of a GoPro from many cine FPV pilots is the fact that you can use post-production software to stabilise your footage thanks to the gyros found inside the camera. The DJI FPV is in a slightly unique position in the fact that it stabilises via a single tilt axis and also an electronic roll. The tilting axis can go from -65 degrees to +70, whilst the rock-steady stabilisation first seen in the Osmo Action ensures your footage is ultra smooth no matter how dynamic your manoeuvres are. Safety within platforms has always been at the forefront of DJI's ethics, and thanks to the onboard GPS, which is also compatible with the GLONASS and Galileo systems too, you can rest assured that your drone will be safe. With smart return to home features kicking in when your battery gets too low, or the forward and downward obstacle avoidance sensors, DJI has ensured that you'll have a safe flight even at high speeds. We also find an emergency brake and hover button located in the easy to reach area of the controller. Simply pressing this button whilst in any of the 3 flight modes will stop and hover the drone stably within a few seconds, giving all users at whatever level you fly an extra layer of protection. One other thing to mention is the built-in Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast, or ADS-B for short. This system receives live flight information from manned aircraft that are in the area and will display a warning in your goggles, giving you plenty of notification of anything nearby. A concern many will have with the FPV being designed to push your limits is brakes and spare parts. DJI has designed the FPV to be a modular construction, so you can easily unscrew and replace the gimbal camera, landing gear and top shell. You even get a second shell to swap over the transparent black smoke canopy with this vibrant green one. Now this has been announced, we're hoping to get this activated and get outside and fly. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications of all our latest content. And if you'd like any more information, please check out the link below or get in touch with your local London Camera Exchange.